think you're live.
Hello everyone, welcome to Brenda's Brushstrokes and Bisque, painting live on August 19th, a little after 7 p.m. We actually changed, we're having some technical difficulties here tonight, so we've changed phones to see if that can correct our problems. We'll give you guys some time to join back up with us. So it looks like Joni found us, so hopefully it's Nancy found us. Hopefully the audio is better. We'll give you guys a little bit time to catch up. But we are starting our August box, which is our Gourd. Linda says it sounds much better. Oh, great.
And my phone sucks.
I think you got to come mess with the tablet now. So one of those nights. But we are working on it is our large Mako Gourd and our Dragonfly. We had to come back because we are having some technical difficulties. So we just want to give everybody a little bit of time to catch up with us. I can go back to painting because that's all I'm just base coating or painting out our Gourd with our Duncan Rust. You could use your Doc Holliday Rust also, or Mako, just a rust or terracotta color, whatever you want your Gourd base coat color to be. So we're just working our way around it and getting our nice first layer on it. So it looks like you guys are finding us, so that's good. We'll keep painting here and hopefully it's a better.
I said the sound's much better.
Sounds better, okay.
Yeah, I gotta upgrade equipment.
So we're just brushing back and forth and getting a nice layer of our rust on here. And again, you can always do your projects in any colors for techniques you guys choose to do. This is just on the Thursday nights we just paint them the way the samples were painted for the pictures and for the box. So that's kind of how that is, why we do what we do. So we're just base coating our piece with our rust, and I'm just using a nylon painting brush. That's good for painting out your piece or base coating it. When we're dry brushing, we use a Boar bristle brush, which is a little bit stiffer, natural haired brush. You could also use a natural haired brush like a sable for your base coating as well, but the nylon brushes are so popular now and so much cheaper than the natural hair brushes, and they mimic the natural hair quite well, so they work just as good. So I'm just having my piece completely base coated here, so now we're going to let that dry a little bit, but I can see that I can see through in areas, so I am going to want to come back and get another layer on there. So we'll get some more of our rust and we'll just keep brushing it out here. And I'm kind of switched directions from going horizontally. I'm kind of going at an angle now. That's kind of just personal preference. Just kind of to get good coverage. So you can see, we can see a lot of white now where it's drying, and you don't want your base coat to be blotchy like that. You want a nice solid even coat of rust on your piece. Because if it's blotchy and spotty like that, that is what you're going to see when we do the next step, and you don't want to see those white areas coming through. So I just have my fingers up in the hole and I'm just kind of spinning it here. So we've had a busy, even though the shop is closed for the month of August, it's a busy month because we have lots of things going on to try to get done. This weekend was our garage remodel, so I can be pouring in there over winter instead of in my dining room. So we got pretty far on there in 3 days. We have some more to do. We'll be finishing that on Sunday, hopefully, and moving back in on Monday. And then from there, Tuesday and Thursday, or storage units, I should say, the two of them, they're side by side. We have molds on pallets and molds just stacked, and we need to get those on the shelves so we can find what we're looking for before winter gets here. And then Courtney's working on our webpage, Brenda's brushstrokesandbisque.com. She has actually found a workaround for you guys for getting extra supplies. So we are trying to cater to our Bisque box subscribers or anyone that's getting a Bisque box, in that you are able to add items to your box and we cover the shipping as long as you spend an additional $50. And she's putting things on the website as she has time, but all that background work has to be created to do that. And we'll go over, I'll actually show you a page to kind of explain it, because you're going to be picking in-store pickup so that it doesn't select or add shipping to your order, and that's kind of the workaround. So we'll go over that later when we're done for the night before we go into our sale. So I'm just working my rust on here, just going back and forth, brushing it nice and smooth and not brushing it out too much, but enough that it's not puddled or there's not ridges. So I know one of our local schools started school this week, so I was really surprised at that. Usually it's closer to Labor Day. So it's kind of, we're into fall, I guess, when you think about the kids going back to school already here. I think our kids go back like 2 weeks from probably this last Monday. So we're just brushing out our rust and getting a nice even coat on it so we don't have any blotchy spots or streaks of white coming through. And we do show this step by step, because if someone's new, for instance, if Courtney was to sit down and paint, because Courtney's not a painter, if I said to base coat a piece, she wouldn't know what I was talking about, although she does now, after a year of listening to me, or 2 years I should say. So if someone's a complete beginner, they're not going to know what base coating or painting something out is, so we do try to go step by step right on our Thursday night lives. That also gives you an idea of how long things kind of can take, because some people think it's done really quick and it's not, and they may think, well, my piece isn't turning out, it should be at that stage already. But by doing it live and doing it the whole step, you see that it can take longer, and it usually takes a little bit more. Something I'm kind of saying all the time, a little bit more. The boys even heard that with their basket weaving yesterday. So we kind of had a 4-H day yesterday for my two great nephews, and we worked on their weaving baskets for the fair. So we got those to the point where they got their rims on yesterday, and now they have to do their overlays next week so that they're ready for the fair. So we had a little break in our garage work. So now I've worked my way all the way around, and I just want to look at it and make sure I don't have any white spots anywhere here. And I'm going to sit him down and let it dry. I just want to be kind of careful. And then I'm going to wash my brush out. I like to have Harold's brush pad in the bottom of my water, but I don't today. But you just want to brush back and forth gently on the bottom of your water, and that will get your paint out of your bristles of your brush. You want to get them out from way up here. You can also take your fingers and kind of work it out. So you can see we have a nice clean brush now. We got that paint out of the top here by the ferrule, so that's really important that you take care of your brushes because they last longer. Then I like to pat them dry, and then I actually like to comb it or groom it into a point while it's laying and drying, so I have my nice point on my brush again. So it's really important to take care of your brushes because they will last longer. So you can see now he's got a nice point back on him. So that is what I do with my brushes at the end of every night, but we'll just show you guys as long as we're done with our rust here. So you do, and then you want to lay them horizontal to dry. You don't want to stand them up. If you stand them up, that water is going to run down in that ferrule, and your glue is going to let loose and you're going to lose hairs. So while it's drying, I usually just lay them aside and lay them horizontal, so we'll do that. And then we are going to go back to our instructions, and while our gourd is drying, we're going to go down to our dragonfly. And you can always refer to your instructions if you don't want to wait till Thursday nights and you want to get your project done. You can follow the instructions, or you can do it any way you'd like to do as well. So number one is we're going to base coat our dragonfly black. So we're going to get some black here. So we have our Duncan OS 476 black. So it looks like Courtney's taking care of some questions we got going on and requests. So we're going to shake up our black good. Courtney's got us a new bottle of black. It's OS 476 black. And we'll get a little pile of black. And now I'm actually going to go back to my washed out brush. And since it's already wet, I don't need to dip it in water to get it wet again. But I'm going to dip into my black paint and just brush back and forth and paint out my black. And because my little hole is pretty small here, I just kind of paint that black too. It just makes your piece look nice. You don't normally have to paint inside there, but since it's just a little bitty hole, I'm just going to paint inside it and make it look nice. And then we're going to brush back and forth. You want to be careful that your pumpkin's not, or your gourd's not sitting so close that you get it full of black splatters. So you can see we just paint back and forth. Get a nice layer of black on here. You don't want it really thick and puddly. You want to take that and brush that out so it's nice and smooth. So we have, Courtney did try to order brushes and paints and glitter.
More in there.
Huh?
That's what you brought.
Oh yeah, I brought you some brushes. And we've had trouble getting, she wanted to have like the Halloween glitters for tonight, but we weren't able to get them. They're out of stock. So we've had trouble. She couldn't get purple to do a Halloween set of paint, but she's got some other things thrown together for you guys for tonight. We have 5 giveaways for tonight. That sale show, it's not really on sale. Well, some stuff will be on sale. Will be in the Brenda's Bisque box group. So if you're not a member of the Brenda's Bisque box group, you probably want to request to join quick, and Courtney will get you signed up. And then if you purchase something, you have to be getting a September box as well.
Oh, look at that, more liners.
So Courtney says, oh, she's opening the box. So here we go. She's got more liners that just came.
I have more.
So we got some back-ordered liners in.
I have both of the short handles.
Both short handles. Not a lot of all of this size, but quite a few of the other size.
Oh yeah, we got a lot.
Oh, lots. Nope, she just found some more in the box, you guys. So here we are unbundling the paintbrush box. So look at here. We have, this is, let me see, this is the monogram liner, you guys. This is a good eyeliner brush.
I'm back in stock on all 3 liners.
So she says she's back in stock on all. This one you might want to look at. The bristles are all bent over.
Okay.
So she got liners in. She's opening the box right here on our live tonight. So
There's one.
so we can go over those too when we as she's opening them. We'll kind of explain the liners a little bit. You said there was 3. You only gave me 2.
He sent them in a separate.
Oh, they're in
package.
separate. Okay.
They came straight from Brussels.
Okay, so we'll go over the liners that she got in when we're done. Are you gonna have those on the show?
If they want them, I can.
Or are you already? Are they all spoken
No,
for?
those are extra.
Okay, so we got extra liners. So we'll be talking about those for in our Brenda's Bisque box live show tonight. So we'll be having Bisque, and she's got some paint and some other stuff. So we'll be going over that. So, and as soon as I get the black done, we'll go over the liners and what the different 3 liners are that we got in. So they were back ordered and now they came. So it's really been a challenge to get things. But slowly but surely stuff turns up and we get it here and there. And today's a good day. We got liners, so. We will be getting sealer tomorrow at the show. We're getting some molds at the show, some clip lights. Hopefully we get to talk to Silver Falcon. Cordy gave me a budget, but it's not very good, very big for silver falcon.
No, you had the garage project.
Yeah, we had the garage project, so we kind of had to splurge on that. We're actually putting down vinyl flooring even, so it's nicer to clean up than the cement, the clay on the cement. So, and then we're also adding more shelves to the storage unit next week. So our budget's a little blown out. So I'm just getting my black on our Dragonfly so he can dry, because then it will dry brush nicer. So we'll actually be doing dry brushing on our Dragonfly. So I have him all covered here now. And we'll set him aside and let him dry. And again, wash out my brush. And then we'll go over these liners quick. So the liners, they came in, they excuse me, they'll come in with these plastic covers on them, and you want to take those off and throw those out. That's just for shipping purposes, to keep them, the bristles together. So we have, let's see, 2 short-handled liners. One is the 20O Monogram Mini Majestic Royal and Lang Nickel liner, and the other one is the 20O. It's just called a liner, Mini Majestic liner. So if you look at these 2 liners, they're both short-handled. The one on the top, hopefully you can see that, has shorter hairs than the one on the bottom. So the one on the top is the monogram liner, and then the one on the bottom is just called a liner, and they're both 20O liners. So hopefully you guys can see that really well. So the one on the top is the monogram liner, and it just has shorter bristles than the other one. They're both 20O liners. So these are both good liners. I prefer the longer liners, but some people prefer the shorter liners. So if you like the shorter, it's the monogram one, and if you just want the other one, it's a 20O. Huh? Oh, move up. I'm out of frame. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so we have 2 liners. They're both 20O. They both are short-handled. The main difference is that the bristles, the hairs in one is shorter than the other one. So the monogram one is got shorter bristles, and the 20O liner, it's just called a liner, has longer bristles. And it's probably more personal preference than anything, because they are, excuse me, they are both 20O liners. I prefer the longer liners because you can get more paint up in those bristles, and I can get a finer point with those, but that's just personal preference and practice using them. But those are both really good liners. And how much are they, Courtney?
$4.99.
And these are $4.99, and she just got stock of those. Then our other liner is our, it's a long-handled one. It's our 4595, and I use this one quite a bit when we're painting on our lives. And this is a 5O liner, so it's a little bit more bristles in it, and then it's got that longer handle as well. But this is a nice liner too, so it's the 5O, and is that $4.99 too?
Yeah, all the liners are $4.99.
So that one is $4.99 also. So this is the 4595, so now I'll put them all together. So the 4595 probably fits in the middle of these other 2. It's just that it has a longer handle. So that's kind of the difference there. And it has, the hair is almost as long as the other one, but not quite as long. So that's the difference of the liners, like visually. So again, the monogram is the shorter hair, and then the regular liner is kind of the longer liner. And then we have the 4595, which is your longer handled liner. And Courtney just got those back in stock. So that is your liners. So now we can look at our gourd here. And I probably just tore up some of my rust on my paper, so I'm going to go back and touch that up. And then I can see that I can see through up here on top a little bit yet, so we're just going to give this one more little coat. So you want a nice solid coverage. You don't want to be able to see white through your rust. So we'll let that dry for a little bit. And we'll wash out our brush. And then did you gather up some saran wrap for me, Courtney, or not? Just a, I don't know, like a 6-inch, 10-inch piece. So then with those caps on your brushes, you don't want to put them back on, as you'll end up splitting your hairs. You just want to toss those. That's basically just for transportation purposes, shipping purposes, I should say. Alrighty, so Courtney just has some saran wrap or Glad wrap, or so I'm just going to get a piece of Glad wrap here. If you don't have Glad wrap or saran wrap or plastic wrap, so it's just like plastic wrap you'd put over a container, you could use a grocery bag. And I'm just going to take that and like crunch it up. It's nothing high tech at all. We're just going to crunch it up. Okay, then we are going to take, and we're going to look at our instructions, and we are going to take our hot orange and our gold, and we're going to make 2 little piles. We're going to shake them up. So we have our gold, OS 463 gold. I'm going to try to move stuff so you guys can see it here. So we have our OS 463 gold. I'll probably need a wet washcloth or rag to wipe my hands with. And it's not going to take a whole lot of paint, but just a dollop size, I guess you could call it. And then we're going to take our hot orange, OS 439, and if you don't want your hands to get all full of paint, you might want to put on rubber gloves. It's not as messy as color washing, but it is a little messy. Then I put a separate pile of our hot orange. And now I'm just going to take my little wrinkled up piece of saran wrap here, and I'm going to dip one side into the gold, and then the other side into the hot orange. And then I'm going to kind of just dab up and down on my paper to kind of on the foil, or you can use your ceramic tile or whatever you're using. So we just have our paint kind of mixed up on there. So now my top is wet yet, so I'm going to start down on the bottom, and I'm going to just touch directly straight down, and just like that you get that really cool pattern. So I don't want to keep going up and down with the same saran wrap in the same direction. So now the next time I'm going to turn it and go down again, and then I might turn it again and go up and down again. So you want to be turning your saran wrap so you're not getting the same printing pattern with your paint. And you can do as much or little color as you want. So now I'm going to take my saran wrap and dab back into my little pile here of gold and hot orange. And if it gets kind of dirty looking, you can just make a whole new pile. So I kind of just have it's just on there any old way. Now I'm just going to go to the bottom, and I am touching really lightly. I'm not like really jamming it on there. I'm just barely touching it. It's just a real light printing, you could say. And then I'm rotating this saran wrap all the time, so I have different patterns being printed and not the same paint pattern. Again, I grab some more of my gold and my orange, and I'm just kind of dabbing it around in one pile. Again, I'm just going to come to my bottom here, kind of dab up and down, and then kind of twirling this thing in different directions, so there's always a different paint print being printed, so it doesn't look like a repeat pattern of the same thing. So you can see it just adds nice, beautiful color to it. And you can do that with any colors you want. So we're just going to go back and get some more gold and some more orange. Kind of dab it on that foil just to kind of blend it a little bit.
Can you add a third color?
Yep. So Courtney says, can you add a third color? Yep, you can add as many colors as you want. I just went with the 2 because of the kind of the orange and the gold kind of go with the rust color. Yep, you can add as many colors as you want.
Which specific liner did you say you liked for eyes?
that longer one, the liner.
4595.
That one or that short-handled, just the liner one, not the monogram.
Okay.
Either one of those is fine. So again, I'm going to grab some of my gold and some of my orange. And I'm just going to start another pile so it doesn't get like too blended together. And then I'm just going to dab around there a little bit. Again, I'm going to just touch real lightly. See, so now I have too much yellow, so I'm actually going to turn my saran wrap around so I get some orange up in there. So you do want to make sure you're rotating that saran wrap so you're not getting that same print. And then you want to go straight up and down, straight up and down. You don't want to go at an angle so that you get a nice print and it's not getting blurry or smearing. So we're just going to keep going up and down here. Grab some more paint. So see, I did both the same, and that's what you don't want. These two are almost exactly the same. So if you turn your saran wrap, you'll have those different patterns. So you're just kind of dabbing it up and down and turning your saran wrap or your plastic or your bag, whatever it is that you're using. You could use a sandwich bag. It's nothing high tech. It's just real.
Metallic gold would be pretty.
Huh?
You said metallic gold would be pretty.
Yep, metallic gold would be pretty, or the silver. So you just want to make sure you're turning this saran wrap all the time. So now it's kind of coming undone here on me. I gotta kind of grab back a hold of it. And I'm just trying to get like the even coat of all the colors and not just yellow or not just orange. So it's pretty simple. Cody, can you give me one of the sticks? If you don't have our drying racks, you could use a large handled brush or a dowel. I actually want to get up inside there, but without touching my colors. So you could take a dowel or a old broom handle, whatever you can to stick up inside of that would probably make it easier. And then I'm just going to stick my finger in there to kind of hold it from spinning too much. And then if your saran wrap's getting like too flattened, you can just take a whole new piece of saran wrap, or you can just keep dabbing with the one you have. So again, I'm just going to keep turning. So you can see I got a lot of yellow, so I want to go back and get some more orange. And then I'm just turning that thing in different directions all the time. I mean, you could do this on Christmas bulbs. It's just a ton of different things. It's actually, like I said, a wall painting technique, but it works pretty good for this too. Just something I kind of thought, oh, let's try that. And now I want to spin him so I can get to the side that's not done. So I'm just dabbing up and down, turning it. Again, just kind of going straight up and down. So it was getting kind of flat. So I'm just going to kind of like regather it and re-wrinkle it here. And now we can just kind of come back and dab here and there again. I mean, you could do one color at a time too. You wouldn't have to do both colors at one time. I kind of just did both colors at one time. It kind of blends them together. So you can do however much or little of this that you want. Say you're like there's a lot of yellow right there and you want it to be more orange. I just dabbed into the orange, and I'm gonna I need a little more orange the way it looks. So I can go and just get more orange and kind of cover up that so it isn't such a bright yellow there. So you can tone down areas just by going into the other color too. It's like that's kind of a lot of yellow right there too. So we can come back over it with some orange. So that's really all there is to doing your little marbling, dabbing saran wrap technique. And you just kind of want it even all over it. You don't want a lot in one spot and not much in the other. So I'm just going back and kind of looking. So it's kind of light on this side here, so we'll get a little more yellow over here. And now I just want to set that aside and let that dry. So you can see it's different colors here and there, and anywhere there's like, if it's too yellow you can put a little more orange over it. If it's too orange you can put a little more yellow over it. So that is our little dabbed up gourd. Super easy technique. So there he is. So we'll set that aside. Corey, can I have the drying rack bottom too? Sorry. Or you can like, I can just take them out like this too.
We should be getting some for Black Friday.
So we do have these drying racks, and our woodworker is hoping to have them for us for Black Friday. But you can see they're really handy. Then I can just stake him in there, and we'll let that dry while we go now to our back to our dragonfly. But that is all there is to doing our base coat and our squishy technique. Let's call it the saran squishy, the plastic squishy technique. You just dab it on there anyway. So you could do this on pumpkins, you could do it on gourds, you could do it on Christmas ornaments. Pumpkins, yeah. So that we'll put that aside now to dry. And then this little mess, I'll just wad it up and we can throw it away. And I'll wash my hands off because it is a little bit messy. So let's move that aside. Okay. And we can go back to our instructions here. So you can see how fast that was. Like that's super easy, like almost done, other than our silk screening, which we'll do that next week. So now we're going to go to our back to our dragonfly. And we're going to dry brush our wings with real red and then hot orange and then gold to kind of match our gourd. So we'll get our, oh, actually we have to do black brown. So we have to go back to number 1. We base coated him with the black, and now we're going to dry brush him with black brown. So we have our black brown OS 473. Oh, maple tree leaves, that would be good too. There's just a ton you could do with that technique, and you can mix. You could do each color separate, you could do 3 or 4 colors together. You just don't want it to get real muddy looking, and then you'll want to start with a fresh piece of foil and fresh colors. That would be your biggest thing, so it doesn't get muddy brown looking after they start all mixing together.
I don't have a price on the drying racks until we get closer to like when he buys that batch.
So we have a question on the price on the drying racks. Because of the price of wood right now, we're not sure on what the price will be. We'll have to wait until he's able to purchase that and the price of the wood goes down. So we'll let you guys know. We're hoping for Black Friday, but we'll have to wait and see if he has time and if the wood price comes down. So, but hopefully that's kind of our plan. So now we're going to go to our dragonfly. So Wanda says instead of plastic wrap, can you use a sponge? You can. The plastic wrap just gives it a little bit of a different look than a sponge though. But you could use a sponge and do the same thing. That's kind of like more of a marbling technique then. But I just like the saran wrap. It gives it just a little different technique now, a little different texture and look than what we're used to with the sponge. So that's why I use the plastic wrap. Grocery bags like from Walmart work really great too. Just crinkle them up and use those. I actually use that on my bedroom wall. I put gold over navy blue, and that looked really good like that. So now we're going to go to dry brushing our dragonfly, and I have our black brown. I have a size, it must be a size 10. Let's go with something smaller. So I have a size 8 here, so that 10 was a little big for the small size of our dragonfly. So this is a Boar bristle brush. So this is a natural hair brush. It's white. They're usually white. There's different types of hog hair or boar hair too. Some are stiffer than the others. This is the Royal & Langnickel size 8. The 355 series brushes. So it's a natural hair boar bristle brush. And so when you're using that, you want to dip into the edge of your paint and then brush that paint out onto your paper towel or paper bag, whatever you're using, so that there's not a lot of paint left in your brush. And that's why it's called dry brushing. And I usually do that a couple times when I first start out to kind of get that paint up in those bristles. And now we are going to dry brush our whole dragonfly with the black brown. And when I look at his body, his little rings are going around, so we are actually going to go across them. So hopefully you can see that black brown going on over the top of that black. And we just let the black down in the crevices. And then his body becomes more of the black brown color, and then the black down in the crevices is his shade, is the shading. And we'll just come right up over the head here. And we'll get a little more. And I actually did the whole dragonfly, the wings and everything, and then we come back with the brown, the reds and the orange and the gold. So you can kind of see how we have the black now left down in our crevices, but our brown goes on nice and softly because it's dry brush. It's very dry in the brush, but it's very different from painting our gourd, where we kind of painted on a full layer, or kind of a flowing layer almost. So when it gets real wet and shiny like that, I actually have too much in my brush. I need to brush that out. You don't want it to go on wet and shiny. That would be more of a wet brushing, and we're actually dry brushing this guy. So I have his front done, so we'll flip him over and do his back. Again, I just keep grabbing that little, and I just go on the edge of the paint, just to show you. I don't go in there and get all kinds of paint. I just go right on the edge and get a few bristles on the tip, in the edge of the paint, come over to my paper towel and brush it out until there's almost nothing coming out. And then I dry brush back and forth on my piece. If there's texture in it, or grooves or ridges, I try to go across them instead of with them. If you go with them, it fills it in, and you actually want to let that black down in those crevices and just get your brown on the higher areas. So we'll back of our wings here. Now it is smooth, so that takes a little bit more dry brushing to get the smooth areas brown. So we're gonna, so now you can see I have one little white spot here. That's my little flea where I didn't have it covered completely, so that does stick out very, very much. So I'm just gonna grab my black and cover that up, and wash out my brush.
Joseph is her first time watching, I think. She's asking, why are you doing this over black?
So we have a question of why am I doing this over black? You can dry brush over other colors. I just chose black because I wanted the dark color down in the crevices. Lots of times wildlife, I will use the black or the black brown as my base coating color. If it's a lighter piece like a Easter, say a Easter piece, what else? Anything that's more pastel-y, I would use more like a medium brown as my base coat, because I wouldn't want black. I wouldn't want those cracks and crevices to be black. We want these cracks and crevices to be black, because it's going to give our piece more dimension by keeping that black down in those crevices. It just gives your piece more life by having different colors. And black is a good base coating color for like wildlife. Your Halloween pieces are good with black as your base coat color. So when you're deciding what color to base coat for dry brushing, you want to think about what color you want down in those crevices and cracks as the color coming through. So if this was, say, a Easter egg, I wouldn't want black coming through. I would probably go with more of a mocha or medium brown, so that my pastel colors would look more cohesive with the lighter brown instead of with the black. Like that, just kind of, it's too dark for a pastel color. So you can use different colors for your base coating. For snowmen, I actually like to use blue versus black so that they don't get a gray look to them. So my snowmen don't look gray. They have more of an icy cold look with the blue or the purple base coated color. And then dry brushing over it with the like a light blue and then to white. So it kind of depends what your piece is as to what color you may choose to base coat with. Some people think everything is base coated black when you dry brush, but that's not the case, I guess you could say. So now we have a nice layer of the black brown over him, and all our little crevices and indents have the black still down in there, so that's giving depth to our piece. So hopefully that makes sense. It just gives your piece more dimension. So when it was just flat black, it was just one flat looking piece. You couldn't see the little crevices and stuff in the wing, and now that we put the black brown over the wing, we have that black shading down in our crevices. So it's just giving our piece more interest and more depth. So hopefully that helps explain that. So now we'll look at our number 2. So now we're going to dry brush our wings with Real Red. So we have our Real Red OS 483, and I normally I will do rust under the red, but since we have brown on here, we're okay. It's not a bright white, because red can be a hard color to cover. So we'll go with OS 483 Real Red, and we'll just get a little pile of that. And then I'm actually going to use my same brown brush, so I have a nice gradual change of color from my brown to my red, and it'll be a nice blending. So again, I'm going to take that same brush, and hopefully with the red you can see it better. I'm just going to tip in there and get a little bit. I'm not going in there and getting a ton of load of paint, just that little bit, and I'm going to brush it out on my paper towel and kind of work it up into those bristles, and I'll do that 2 or 3 times. So now we have our nice red, so I can brush over on a clean spot, and I can see that there's not a lot of paint coming out. I'm going to go from my brown body to my red. So again, I'm going to brush across these veins. I don't want to brush with them, so I'm going to brush across. And I'm going to go about a third of the way, because then we have our orange and then we have our yellow. I'm not going to do the body, I'm just going to do the wings. Again, I'll go back and grab a little bit of that red, brush it out good. I'm going to let this side dry, and now I'm going to go over to the other side and do about a third of that. Again, I'm brushing up and down. I'm not brushing with my crevices, I'm brushing across them so we don't fill them in with the red. But now you can see that our black is staying down in there, and it's giving our lots of nice depth and 3-dimension to our piece. And then I want to flip him over and do the bottom side as well. That side is smooth, so you can go whatever direction you want to go. And again, we're going to do about a third of it. So we'll do one side, and then we'll come to the other side and let that side dry. Again, I'm skipping his little body, kind of letting the body with the brown. And I just did the brown because it kind of matches the Welcome Autumn and the Dragonflies on our silk screening part. So again, I'm just going to get some more of our Real Red, brush it out, and then build up another layer so my red gets a little bit deeper. You don't do your color all in one setting. You kind of do several layers. When you're dry brushing it, you just build up your layers. So we'll let this area dry, and now go to our other wing and get some red on it.
It's Real Red, right?
It's Real Red, yes.
You used that before.
Yep, we've used Real Red quite a bit. So it is dark. It does look darker because I have the brown in the brush, and that kind of dulled it a little bit, but I didn't want it too bright. 483 Real Red. And then we'll come to our back and get our back again while our front is drying. So let's see what else we got. So it looks like a new shade of red just because that I'm using that brush that had the brown in it. It's more of like, it kind of looks like a barn red on here with that brown in the brush, but I didn't want it to go really bright red. I want it to be more subtle, I guess you could say. If you wanted it brighter, just switch to a new brush. A clean brush will do that. But because we have the brown in the brush, it's dulling it a little bit, and that's what I kind of wanted. Because it's more of a fall colored little thing. So now I got a nice layer of my red on there. So from our red, I'm going to go to our hot orange, which is OS 439 hot orange, and we need just a little bit of that. And again, I'm going to use my same brush actually, so I have a nice gradual change to the orange and not straight to bright orange. So I grab my orange, brush it out on here a few times, kind of work that up in that brush until there's not much coming out. Now I'll do my middle third, again brushing across this. This is kind of a little bit of an ombre technique too here. So we're going from red to orange. So I overlap my red just a little bit with our orange, and then I come kind of where the two wings kind of separate, because that's kind of a third, and then we'll do just a little bit past that, and then we can do yellow or the gold on the tips. So it's kind of a good way to do your ombre too. So I just overlap that red a little bit, and you want to get your front edge of your wings and your back edge also. And we'll come over and do the other one now. So if you wanted really bright orange, you could switch to a clean brush too, but I kind of just use the same brush to keep that kind of the same tone of color with my reds and my oranges here. And we'll let that dry and flip over to the back and do the back third. And we'll grab a little more. So what else we got going on? It's been pretty warm here again. Humidity's back again for the next few days. And tomorrow we are going to the ceramic show in Waukesha, so you can watch for us there if anybody's going to be there. I think I'll have on white capris and a white tank top, so I'm not sure what Courtney's wearing, but
whatever's clean.
Courtney says whatever's clean. Yeah, if mine are in the washer, I gotta throw them in the dryer when I get home. So we're just building up our hot orange from our real red to our hot orange. And then we'll let that back dry, and we'll come back to the front and build that layer up a little bit more. Let's see, we're getting a Noel's large Christmas tree tomorrow, so that'll be fun for the shop. And we're getting a camel to go with our Byron nativity set, because we're missing one of the camels. So it should be a fun day. So we're just working our hot orange in. Come back to the back and build that up too. So you just want to keep going kind of back and forth or round and round, letting one layer dry, and then come back and add another one. So it's dry brushing is a slow process. It's not really a fast thing. You build up your layers one at a time. That's what gives you your nice shading. So we have our nice gradual blend from our brown body to our real red to our orange, and then we'll go to our yellow. So we don't have a definite line. It's just a nice gradual shift of color. And we'll come back to our back side and or the front side I should say, and get some more on there. And now we can go to our gold, which is OS 436 gold. So Paula asked if we go to the Ohio show. We had planned to go last year, but then with COVID they canceled it. So I don't know if we'll go this spring or not. We'll have to see how COVID and things go, but it would be nice to go. It seems like it's probably a bigger show than our Waukesha show. So I did get a new piece of our paper towel just because mine was getting full. And I have my gold on my palette, so I'm just going to go into the edge and grab some gold, and I'm using that same dirty brush. I call it a dirty brush because it's got all the colors in it. And we're just going to work that in there a little bit. And then just kind of keep brushing it until it's not much in there. And now we'll do the tips, again going across instead of with the veins. Or you can do like a C stroke, like the letter C, that kind of blends it right in there too. And then I overlap my orange just a little bit, so I kind of have that nice fading from one color to the other. So we get that nice ombre look to it, and then we'll turn it and come and do the other side. So we'll grab some more and again overlap the orange just a little bit. And then we'll go to the back. So Paula says there's one in September, the 10th and 11th. I think they have a spring one too, don't they, Paula?
I think it's in April.
Like April-ish. So now we're doing our gold on the tips of our wings here, kind of blending into the orange a little bit. And then we'll get more at the tip so it's brighter. So these guys are pretty easy to do, like we're almost done with it already. You guys could always add more of these to your September boxes. You can just, I don't know if Courtney will have them on the web page, or if she'll have you guys message her, because she is building the web page to get more of that type of stuff on there, so you can just add it to your box without having to message her. It'll just make it easier to keep track of things. So now I have the back done, so we'll come to the front and get a little bit more on our front. So it's kind of a nice muted fall colors. So grab a little more gray or gold and brush it out. And I just want a little bit more on the tips, just like the light is kind of hitting those wing tips a little bit more than the rest of it. And then a little bit more on this other wing tips. So you could use any colors, like I just went with the fall colors to kind of match the gold and the orange and the rust in our gourd. So that's why the dragonfly is the colors that it is. And we'll come back to the back and get a little more on. And come back and do the other side. And you could do these with the metallics or whatever you want. Okay, so we got that done. So now I do see that I have some red on my body, so I'm just going to grab another one of my flat brushes. I'm just going to go down here and touch that up. So I just want to touch that up a little bit. If I used the dirty brush that I had, there was too many colors in there. The brown wouldn't have been the true brown to match the original dry brushing that we did, so that's why I'm going to a actual clean brush to have the true black brown on the body. You're having a hard time seeing? Kind of a dark color, that's why. So I'm just going back to my black brown and touching up the body wherever I got any red on it. And again, I changed back to a clean brush so the black brown is pure. If I would have used my dirty brush with the gold and the orange in it, it wouldn't have been the same black brown, and it would stick out. It would look like you patched it. So that's why I went to a actual clean dry brush for the black brown to get it back to that original black brown color. So I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. Okay, so we got that done. So let's look at our directions now. So we're going to paint our eyes black. So my black has dried up, so we need a little more black. So we have our OS 476. We'll get a drop of black. And that's a big drop of black, enough for 10 dragonflies. So I'm just going to use my 4595 liner that we were just talking about, dip it in my water to condition it, and then into my black. And when I load my liner, I like to draw it through my paint and then turn it in my fingers and pull it towards me. That puts a nice point on your liner. So again, I'm drawing it through my black paint and kind of lifting as I get to the end and turning it. That puts a nice point on it. So now we have our black in there so we can outline our eyes. So I'm going to hold my, normally I would hold this really close to me, but I'm trying to do it so you guys can see. I'll hold my butterfly or my dragonfly, and I'm actually going to rest this painting hand. I have my fourth finger actually resting right on him. And then we're just going to outline our black eyeballs right where the indents are. And then fill it in. And then every time you go back to load that brush, kind of draw it through it and turn it and lift as you draw it out so you get that point on there. And we'll fill this in with our black. Again, I go back to my black and I turn it and draw it towards me to load it up. Rest that painting finger on there, or that painting hand, one of your fingers. And then fill in my outline. And then come back and fill in the inside. And you do have to turn your pieces around, and sometimes you have to rest your, so this time I'm resting my thumb. It all depends where your piece is at when you're holding it and where you have to rest that painting hand. But and then fill that in with our black. And then just look at it, make sure it looks nice and even. And we'll wash that out, pat it, put our point back on it. And now we'll take a drop of our white, which is OS 431 white. And we just need a little drop of that. And I actually like to dip in my water and add just a little drop of water to that white to thin it like ink. And then mix it. And then I'll draw that brush through it. Again, I'm turning it. And I'm pulling and lifting to get that nice point. So now I want to make sure that this is dry. So we will put our little commas in there. So I'm going to put my little commas in the front of each eye. When they're three-dimensional like this on animals, like you wouldn't put them both at 1 o'clock. So we're going to put the first one at 1 o'clock, and it's just a little comma. And then we'll put the other one, instead of putting it at 1 o'clock, we're going to put it at 11 o'clock. So you kind of have to do animals that have their little eyes and their head different than looking head on. So again, I'm just going to put my little comma right in his eye in the front at 11 o'clock. And the side I got bigger than the other side, so we got to make the other side bigger, I guess. And wash that out. And let's see, he's got a couple little X's in the corner as well, so we'll grab a little more. And you want your X's to kind of have a curve to them so that it makes the eye look like it's rounded instead of a straight flat X. And then I'm actually going to come back with my black and skinny out my commas because they're kind of big here.
You left that the commas are going in the same direction.
Yep, they just got a little. Well, no, they're going in a different direction. So this one is going more like a comma. This one is going in the opposite direction, and it's at 11 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock because they have the head-on eyeballs. So normally I would put this one at 1 o'clock and then this one at 1 o'clock, but because the eyes are like different than humans, they're both, this one's at 11 and this one's at 1. So I'm going to wash that out, and then I'm going to take my little ball stylus and dip in my white and put a little dot right at the top of my comma.
You look like you want a paint fight.
No, it's just that orange stuff. The white stuff's from the garage. And then you can actually put a little dot on your X's if you want to. And the ball stylus works really well for that. So that is all there is to doing your dragonfly, actually. He is done. So then I sealed him with satin, the aerosol sealer, or no, matte. Actually, I used matte. I used matte on wildlife, so I did use matte. You could use the brush-on sealer if you wanted to as well. So that is our little dragonfly, and he's all complete. So hopefully you can see, we'll try to do a close-up here. So this comma, so on looking at him head-on the left side, it's more of a comma like at the end of the sentence. But then on his right side, it's the reverse. It's going with the outline of the eye. Maybe that helps explain it better. So this one's at 11 o'clock and it goes with the outline of the eye. The left side is at 1 o'clock and it goes with the outline of the eye. So they're both in the front. If it was like a human being, it would look like they were cross-eyed, but because of the way his head is, they're just both in the front of the eye. So hopefully you guys can see that and that helps. So that's our cute little dragonfly ready to be sealed. And what time are we looking at, Courtney?
8:23.
Oh, 8:23. So that's probably a good stopping point for tonight. We can take a look at our gourd here again.
Are you gonna finish next week?
Yep, we'll finish next week. So that's why I have to do another project with those. Remember, we were going to do the... so we will do our silk screening next week. So you can see my gourd is all dry now. It takes a little bit because you're kind of dabbing all that paint on there. But our gourd is dry. So hopefully you guys like that. Again, you can use any colors, like maybe purples and blues would be pretty with some silver in it. But I just went with more of the traditional fall colors. And next week we will mix our silk screen and do silk screening on this guy. So I can show you our, move a few things here. Show you our September box, which is our Donna's Sweet Tots. It is our ghost girl and then our little pumpkin boy. And then we do have the other pieces that go with this set, and we will be talking about those in our after party show. Add it to my Bisque box. When we get done with this live, we will actually come back live in the group Brenda's Bisque box, which is right here on Facebook on Brenda's Brushstrokes and Bisque. But we have the cats, the pumpkins, the kissing couple, the girl and boy with the pumpkins. We have the scarecrow.
Yeah, we'll tease them.
Courtney says she'll tease you guys with this. Well, this is separate from that.
Yeah, it is.
So we will be going with this with the after party. So come to Brenda's Brushstrokes and Bisque Bisque group on Facebook, and we will sign off here in a minute. This is something else we will be having in our live Add It to My Bisque box. It's a new basket that we just got in from Donna's. We'll have some other things as well. 5 giveaways Courtney has, you guys. If you are not a Bisque box member, you can go ahead and request it quick, and Courtney will try to let you in. So that is... it's going to take us a few minutes to get set up and clean the table off, but we will be back in Brenda's Bisque box with our live Add It to My Bisque box. So this is your September box. This is our August box that we will actually finish up next week with our silk screening, which is a really easy process. It's just a matter of mixing the silk screen medium with your paint, and we will go through all that on the live, and then we'll have that all figured out for you guys. So we appreciate you joining us this week and hope you enjoyed I think it's a really easy project actually. And hopefully you guys will come and join us with our after party for some sales and some bisque and stuff you can add to your box. If you're not getting a box, you can buy a box, and then Courtney will let you ship stuff in your box. So we will see you in the after party, but just give us a few minutes and we will get ready to show you some cute things we got lined up for our after party added to my box. So thanks for joining us this week, and we will see you guys next week if you're not coming to the after party, but hope you enjoyed the class with the new technique of using the saran wrap. So see you guys in a little bit, or see you next week. Thanks guys, good night.